lady who works at a dressage clinic called me because they were having problems with one of their horses that was normally, what they said, very nice and gentle, and they all of a sudden started having a problem when they were lunging him or asking him to do stuff. He wouldn't want to walk with them, and when they were lunging him, he would charge towards them when they asked him to stop. And a few different people were working with him, and they were all getting the same results. So she called to see if I could come out, assess the horse, and my thoughts were, okay, the horse is in pain or there's some sort of communication lacking. Horses are generally compliant animals, so it's usually us missing a step. So when I run into a problem, I try to break it down step by step and figure out what's going wrong and where it's going wrong. So give him, he just doesn't know, because you got to take away your slack. There you go. And now give him direction with the lead hand, and now whip towards the shoulder. Get on him, go towards it. I won't let him come at you. There you go. Get right at that shoulder. So if we turn his hindquarters first, he won't be able to do that.
That's what I try to do normally.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he was coming at me quicker than I could step behind him.
Okay.
Once I had his shoulder at me, so he was just walking in circles around me, and then
So he's just turning around.
I know he did it so fast.
Get at him. So I think what he's looking for is just more direction in the lead line. Because there's so much slack, he doesn't know which way to go. So he's just confused and doesn't know where you want him. So there's too much slack in the lead line, and he doesn't know which way he's supposed to go. He's not being asked to go one way or the other. He's just being whipped at in his mind. That's what he sees. So he's coming towards it. He doesn't know what to do. He's angry and frustrated. And then it's scary for someone to have a horse come at them, so you're not thinking about the communication. So now I am going to try him on a little bit shorter of a line to see if I can get some communication going with him. I deal with a lot of horses off the track, wild mustangs, rescue horses from different traumatic situations, so I am constantly learning from them on how to better communicate. And when I ask him to stop, I want him to be facing me. I want him to be stopped straight so that I can put the whip on one side of him and lead him with the lead line the other way to communicate with him exactly what I want him to do.
I think having shorter lunge lines is a big help.
Yeah, because if it's too long, you just can't get the slack out. And if you don't have the direction, you're asking him to do something without telling him where.
Right.
So you're asking him to move. So if I just started whipping over here, I'm not really giving that direction to go that way. I would have to with my hand. Once they get used to watching your hand, you don't need all that slack out because they're watching your hand where you're asking them to go. But now he gets it, and he's not even confused.
Yeah.
I think of it like this. If I'm on the horse, my foot is asking him from right here, so that's my drive point. Anything of this should mean back up.
Right.
Anything over here should be go forward, and anything back here should mean move your hips.
Okay.
And if I'm asking him to move my hips, I want him to look at me.
Yeah.
So not to be confusing, I'm going to break down what I mean by drive line, because I know my communication isn't always that well, and I'll be out here saying like flick the horse or the drive line, and I want everyone to understand what I'm saying. So the drive line is your cinch line. When you're on a horse, you're asking them from right here to go forward. So if I'm on the ground, I'm also going to drive my horse from right here. I don't want to drive her right now because I just want her to stand here and let us look at it. My hindquarters are over here. Anything faced at this direction, if I'm giving her direction from back here, this means move your hips away from me. And like I said, anything up here, I don't do a lot of up here because my horses will back at the stomp. But when they won't, you can use the flag. But right here, the flag is kind of just threatening. To this horse, it's not, but to most horses, that's a threat, and they are going to paw at it or jump at it, especially when you give them nowhere else to go. So number one, just pay attention to the slack. Now that the slack is out of the lunge line, the horse is being directed to move to the left side of her. Her whip is in her right hand, driving the horse forward. So I probably also wouldn't even ask the whip on the other side until he was facing me, because then you're putting it in front of their face.
Okay.
So first I'd whip towards his hindquarters, whip his hindquarters, and walk towards him a little bit, like you're having him face you. Walk towards his hindquarters a little bit, okay. All right, now switch hands and get it on the other side of the shoulder, towards the shoulder, there you go. Because then we're just communicating with him a little better.
Got it.
Do it. But anytime that I want my horse to move in this direction, I am going to first ask this way and then encourage with my whip. And with my whip or flag, I'm going to go behind the drive line. If I want her to stop and face me, I'm going to look at her butt and push her hindquarters away from me, and she'll stop and face me. So anytime I'm behind that flank, she knows she's supposed to be moving her hindquarters away from me and looking at me. Anytime I'm aiming behind the shoulder, she knows I'm encouraging her to go forward. Anything up here, he was also getting a lot of communication up here. Anytime you're waving a flag at a horse like this, they don't know what that means except for back up. The only thing you should ever be doing in front of the horse's drive line is asking them to back. So when you're not asking them to back and you're just waving this flag, I think any horse could get angry. My horse just thinks I'm playing with her right now, but I do a lot of this with her. But him kind of coming towards and charging, it wasn't him misbehaving. He really just didn't understand what was being asked of him because there was too much slack in the lead rope. No one was asking him, hey, can you do this? And encouraging with the flag. So first you have to tell them what you want them to do before you bring your flag or whip in for encouragement. And anything up here should mean back up. So Zion also didn't want to walk through the gate with her. So she's trying to lead him through the gate. He's not wanting to go. Turn and face. Like driving him like this, because this is where your drive line is when you're riding him. There he goes. So when she asked the horse to go through the gate with her and he wouldn't go, she tried to pull him through. And pulling on a horse, these are 1,000-pound animals, so you're not going to get anywhere pulling on a horse. I'm not going to get anywhere pulling on a horse. So I asked from the side of the horse, and I always give direction with my lead rope first. This is where I want you to go. Please go if they don't go. This horse I don't have to actually use the reinforcer of the flag, but that horse I did. I actually used my lead rope to say, hey, please go, please go. This is where I want you to go. So please go there. Now I want you to move your hips away from me and look at me. This is where I want you to go. So no matter what's in the way of them, that's how you get them over obstacles, get them in a horse trailer. If they won't go, instead of pulling them, ask them to go. Make sure you don't have slack in your lead, and you can reinforce with your lead rope, flag, whip, whatever you want to do. My horse is so used to it that all I have to do is direct with my lead line. I can pull her the other way, reinforce with my hand. If I walk towards her hips, she's going to move those hips away from me. Look at me. If I drop my lead rope or have too much slack, she thinks she's ground tied, she's going to stay there. If I started asking her to do something like this, she just thinks she's supposed to stay there. So it could just be threatening. She's like, you told me to stay and now you're giving me these other directions, but you're not telling me what you want. You're just flying a flag in my face or just whipping around. So my horses are trained that I can just go around them and do whatever, and I'm not asking them to do anything because their lead rope's on the ground. So they know I'm just being weird, because that's what I do. Back. And then towards the hindquarters on the other side. Yeah, so if we engage his hindquarters, he has to do what you're saying, because that's what the lead horse does. Good boy.
So it was all just communication breakdown.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to use one of the newer horses to show you how easy it is to miscommunicate with them, because he's not as fine-tuned as Aria. I use a lot of terminology that might not make sense, so please ask me about it if I'm not making sense to you. I learned all of this through mistake, like trial and error, and I grew up with horses, so sometimes when I'm talking I just expect that everyone understands, and I know that that's not actually true, so I will slow down and explain it if anyone has any questions. So what I'm going to ask him, he's done a little bit of this, but I'm going to ask him to go in a circle, and I'm going to ask him to go this way. So first I'm going to ask with my lead rope. He's not going, so I'm going to ask with my whip. Flag, whip, lead line, whatever you want. To me, in his eyes, he's looking at the flag like he might be a little bit scared of it. Maybe it's too much. Maybe I don't need the flag. I can probably ask with my lead line what I want. Now I'm going to ask him to move his hindquarters away from me. He's getting really good at it. But if I just stood here and said, hey, hey. Oh, he got it anyways. Hold on. I'm not giving him direction at all with my lead rope. Hey. He's getting scared, right? So, and that's exactly what I'd expect him to do. So, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to give direction, take the slack out, give direction with my lead rope. And now ask. And he says, oh, you wanted me to go this way. Why didn't you say that? Us females can be the worst at this because we constantly are pulling things towards us and whipping them away at the same time. Sorry, buddy.